Amarijasz. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I'm going to be telling you guys, answering the infamous question, is fashion school worth it? If you're interested, keep watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And first things first, I'm going to do a little bit of background about me. So I am on my 4th semester right now at the Academy of Art University. I am a fashion design student in the Bachelor's of Fine Arts degree program. I've attended fashion school online. I've done it in person. I've taken courses, and I've also tried to do the whole I'll just learn it by myself route. When I was in high school, I never had the intention of being a fashion designer. I knew I love fashion. I knew I wanted to be in the fashion industry. Well, the whole concept of being in the fashion industry felt like unrealistic, felt like I had no clear direction and path, and felt like something that I was going to be going into blind, and I felt like prior to that, I've always been in love with fashion. I've always just loved fashion. I love dressing nice. I love being cute. I was obsessed with America's Next Top Model. I was obsessed with Project Runway. I binge watched all of their seasons. I love the idea of just creating fashion. I love everything about fashion. And when I got into high school, it became like I appreciated design. I became more engulfed in like the whole fashion sinking point or fashion pyramid. To getting to know like a little bit about fashion, and then starting to knowing like the nuances of different players, of different people, and then to basically I'll be in class and every day just binge watching fashion runway shows, binge watching people who are influential in the fashion industry at that time, and that was like the 2016-2020 era. So that's Alila May, that's Ian Connor, that's A$AP Rocky, that's Travis Scott, that's Kylie Jenner. But then it became beyond influencers. Who are the designers? That's a really big. But at that point, it still never registered in my head that this could be a legitimate career, and how can I? And I knew about, like, there was this other YouTuber named, I forgot her name. It was Jayla Corian. And I remember being so like, oh my God, you can actually have a career in fashion. But even though, and I was like, oh, I want to do that. I want to do what I think she was doing fashion merchandising, girl. I'm not exactly sure. And she went to FIT. And that's when I started learning about the schools. It was like a sinking hole of learning as much as fashion as I wanted to. And then my love and passion for fashion just is like blew up, because prior to that I was a die-hard dancer girl. Like, I was in magnet programs. My dream school was Juilliard. I was deeply into ballet. I was deeply into dance ever since I could remember. And that was, every time someone asked me, what do you want to be when you grow up, it was always, I want to be a professional dancer. But eventually that pivoted, and then it pivoted to fashion, and that just became my whole life. Like, it just became my whole life, my whole existence. And it's crazy because even prior to that, like when I was young, I would look at Mary Claire magazines, I would look at Elle, I would look at Essence, I would look at Vogue, and I would rip out all the pictures. I was so mesmerized by the editorial photo shoots. I was mesmerized by the clothes, by the ad campaigns, by the models, by everything. I was so engulfed, just a little bit. At least I got a taste, and I was a little bit obsessed, and that led to the whole Project Runway and all that type of stuff. And then getting back into it again after leaving the whole dance lifestyle. But I didn't understand, like, how can I make this a career? And I'm not gonna learning about the fashion industry without having any family, without having anyone, friends, any people in the industry, is super hard. It's so hard to get legitimate answers. I feel like a lot of people gatekeep fashion. They gatekeep the schools. They gatekeep what you need to exactly be doing. They gatekeep the internships. They gatekeep everything. And if you're trying to speak to someone who's actually in the industry. It's hard to get there. Everyone is saying, oh, just network, oh, just okay. But network, when I get to the networking, what questions do I need to ask? Where do I need to network? Do I need to move here? Do I need to be here? What exactly school? What should I be doing even while I'm in school? Where, you know, it's just like no one is giving you definite answers. And I feel like that is what made me feel uncertain about trying to make a career out of this, when, you know, it just, and it's like the silence from everyone made me think, oh, it must not be that hard to achieve, so I can just do it on my own. If everyone is saying, oh, you can just do this, you know, just do a little sewing class and just start a little brand, and everyone's giving these blasé answers, really vague, no legitimate reality check about what the true industry is like. So I figured I can just do this on my own. I don't need school. I don't need to go to fashion school. I can just pick up a little book, go to a little library, cut a little sew, take a little classes, and I'm a designer. And I'm a designer, right? So from there, the whole concept of fashion being a career was on pause. Like, to actively pursue it was on pause, and I just decided I can just learn on my own. So from there, I was taking free courses on Coursera.org, and I was taking the Parsons Fashion as Design course. I was taking the business courses, the business and fashion courses. I was taking all of these, doing all of these alternate routes to try to make up for it, not going to the school. But when I went to SUNY Albany, I realized first, my passion for that industry, and even though I didn't have an exact career, I knew it was something that it was blinding me. It was making it difficult for me to pursue anything. Like, my whole philosophy on going to that school was, I need to learn business. You know, I don't want to be in fashion school. I know I want to have a business soon, so I can just take the little business courses, and I'll just do a little fashion. But that is, my brain couldn't do it. It was like someone was blocking my eyes. Like, I couldn't see anything. All I could think about, I was just fashion. I'm on YouTube constantly, fashion this, how to fashion this, how to do this, what do they do. I'm constantly looking. I'm taking my real classes and trying to find. It's like I'm trying to do both, when not even that it's possible to do both, but it's like my heart wouldn't allow me to do both, you know. My heart, and once my heart was in fashion, my mind just kept like turning back to this fashion. But I was scared, you know, I was scared to actually fully pursue it because of how competitive it is, because how there was no legit answers, and it was hard to find any sources unless you're going to be scouring around in the internet trying to find some real advice, going on Reddit, going on this. It was hard. Like, I've learned a lot so far, but it's been like 4 years of me finally getting into a comfortable place and formulating my own path, you know, of what I think I should be doing to be in fashion. But anyways, nonetheless, after taking the courses, after going to business school, right? After going to business school, and I was good. I had a scholarship. It was no reason for me not to go. And plus, my whole philosophy again was, I can go to this school. I'm gonna be in New York. You know, maybe I can go down here. And I could do, like, it was such a side thing. It was always, I can do this on the side. I can do this on the side, and eventually it will be here. Eventually, I will be at this place. But in reality, what ended up happening is I ended up not even being able to. I ended up just not even being able to pass a lot of the courses. Like, my grades just started dumping because I mentally just was not there. The business aspect, that wasn't enough to keep me engaged, to keep me wanting to continue to learn about this. I just was over it, you know. I wanted to focus fully on fashion, but I didn't know how, and I didn't really want to accept that I didn't want to accept that, like, the business, the business, whatever, what I was doing wasn't what I would need to be doing. So I just kept trying to force it. And then after that, I ended up leaving that school, coming back to Atlanta. And then from there, I applied to another university. It was Aspen University. That was online. So that was online. And again, with that situation, my head was not in it. I could not do the grades, I could not do the tests, I could not do the homework, I could not do the reading. I did not care, and that ended up being another situation where I wasn't passing, I wasn't meeting up to standards, and I eventually left that. Well, I didn't officially leave that school, but I didn't register for the next semester, and I was like, that whole semester I was just out, right? And then it was February 2022 where I was out of school. I think probably like, I was out of school just for the fall. I think I was out like 3 semesters, not 3 semesters, I was out like 3 months. And it was February 2022, and I think I just decided. And then another thing, a hurdle that was keeping me from actually going was I didn't have any prior experience. You know, a lot of the whole athletic prior experience, and I wasn't at where everyone else would have been if they was applying to fashion school. I didn't have a portfolio already ready. I wasn't doing any summer fashion design courses. I didn't know how to sew, right? It was just so many things that I wasn't aware of that I should have been doing to make it be on point for me to apply to fashion school, right? But then again, I got into the fashion thing late in the fight. But anyway, anyways, but that was another hurdle that made me feel scared. Like, I can't, in my mind, my thing was, I can't apply to FIT. I don't have a portfolio. I don't have no prior experience. Only my prior experience is being in a little fashion show in my high school. That's my only legitimate experience, you know? And yeah, so it was like FIT's out the window, and I didn't even know about Parsons at that time, so my only brain thinking about any SCAD. I didn't want it. My whole thing was I didn't want to. I even though I didn't know a lot about the fashion industry, I knew I needed to be in New York. I knew New York was a fashion capital of the United States of America, and I knew that's where I needed to be, right? So that was out of the window, even though that probably would have required me to do XYZ too, and that's was another thing that was just like holding me back, making me think I can't do this. Just stick with it, what's the name, because you don't have a portfolio. Maybe get a little portfolio on the side, and then once you get there, it's like all these excuses as to why I shouldn't go for it and just continue to do it on the side. But eventually I just decided, you know, no, it's not working. Doing anything other than fashion, it's not working, it's not lasting. I have no interest in this, and it's a waste of time and money, to be honest. So after that, I scour over the internet to try to find the best option for me. I need a school that is credible. I need a school that has an amazing curriculum. I need a school that will work with me being a beginner, and I need a school that has a great online program, right? And that's where Academy of Art University came into play. And I've been with them for a year now, basically. And yeah, so that's the background about me. Next, I'm going to tell you about, I'm just going to get down to the reasons why I feel like you should go to fashion school, and why I believe that fashion school is and would not be worth it, depending on you and depending on your situation. So one thing that I want to mention is, I remember when I was learning about fashion, really starting to try to understand how the industry worked for real. Not to be, you know, not the nice answers, the cute answers. I wanted to know the legitimate answers, and I went and I found Zoe Hung. She is an amazing YouTuber. I've learned so much from watching her videos, but one thing I've learned from her video, and it was, I'm not exactly sure, I'll put in the video what that title was, but I remember her mentioning basically that a lot of, well, it's a lot of things I want to mention. First of all, she spoke about how some major companies in the industry, they go to specific schools to get their new talent. They have prior connection with the school, they may have affiliate, some type of partnership, but some companies go directly to the school to pick their new talent. So if you're a designer with no degree, designer with no legitimate experience, with no connection, you're missing out on so much opportunity. You're missing out on so much opportunity and so much connection, and to be honest, any type of, but when you're in school, it's kind of like a boost. It's like a boost. It's a platform where people can put you up, for more people can see you. But if you're down, you have no immediate fashion community around you. You know, you're in a small town in Arkansas or in Kentucky where there's no real fashion community there, and you're just being a designer, but no one's with legitimacy in your work. But if you're in fashion school, you have these industry professionals. They have events, they have hostings, and they have a whole large major company in the fashion industry who would directly come and even take a glance and take a look at your work, you know. And another thing that she mentioned that was kind of interesting to me was how a lot of people, a lot of companies, is if you put your resume, right? You put your resume, and if your resume doesn't even include bachelor's of fine arts and fashion design, your resume will not even get the opportunity to see a human's eye. It's like a machine that all the resumes go through, and if the machine cannot identify basically a BFA in fashion design, it will immediately go to the trash. And I feel like a lot of people don't know that, or be misled from, I don't know, TikTok, or I don't know, just people who are not in the industry to make them believe. I feel like it's people who, first of all, don't respect fashion, don't respect the craft, that is putting in other aspiring designers' mind that it's something that you can achieve on your own. It's something that is not, that can be measured in craftsmanship, you know, craftsmanship. And yeah, it's not something that can be measured in craftsmanship, and anyone will get a chance just based off a portfolio, just based off this. But then again, your BFA is basically your proof that I am up to date. I know this standard. I know what needs to be done. I know how to sew. I know how to do tech packs. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that's a lot of the reason why the companies go to Parsons, go to FIT, is because they know these students, when they're leaving the school, they're going to be up to standard. They're going to be able to effectively communicate their designs and their mood board and their final presentation. They know how to do tech packs. They know how to sew, at least, you know what I'm saying? But if you don't have the BFA, what you're telling the company that you're applying for is basically, I have no legitimate proof to show you besides this one or two mood board, this one or two thing. And some people, they do get the chance, but I feel like that is the exception and not the rule, you know what I'm saying? And I also feel like if with the companies, they rather choose, and just everyone, you know, they're going to invest in this designer, they're going to have this designer come to their team and pay them a nice salary, they can guarantee or feel comfortable that, okay, I know they're going to know how to do this, I know they're going to know how to do that. But with you, and then also considering how competitive the industry is, what would they, to be honest, what would they benefit from getting working with a designer who has no legitimate proof of their skill, you know? At the end of the day, it's a business, to be honest. But yeah, so that's one thing that I learned that really pushed me to actually go ahead and apply for fashion school. And I feel like fashion school is literally so competitive. It's so competitive, you know. And think about this. If you were a company and you had two candidates, one, they have 3 beautiful internships. They go to this amazing school. They had a study abroad experience. They have a nice, easy, organized portfolio to showcase. And yeah, that's candidate A. They're up to standard. They check every single box basically. And then you have this other candidate. They don't go to school. They don't go to school. They haven't been in fashion school. They just have a portfolio. So it's like you have this person who has all of this, and it's like it's limiting yourself and it's selling yourself short, you know. And I feel like if we know the industry is competitive, if we know the nepotism, we know there's so many nuances that makes it difficult for people to get ahead, why limit yourself? Why limit yourself? Especially if you're a person of color, or if you are someone in a minority group. Just make sure you have your I's dotted and T's crossed, so there's no reason why someone can pass you over. And just plus for yourself as well, I feel like you're not missing out. I feel like you're not losing anything by not going to university. I feel like it's going to benefit you more than you think it's not going to benefit you. A lot of people like to bring up, oh, the cost is so, but the cost of anything, you know, the cost of anything, it's an investment. It's an investment in yourself, it's an investment in your craft, and it's an investment in your future. You know, don't let something as mundane as money or whatever try to stop you from doing something that you really want to do. The thing that I want to mention is the events. Fashion school, I feel like, is so notorious for hosting events and being able to create spaces for students and working actual professionals to scout new talent. There's been so many artists, so many fashion designers who have gone off to work with Valentino, gone off to work with basically the top designers within the industry because they were at these events, right? And my school and probably other schools, other credible fashion universities, they host events. They are on New York Fashion Week. They host pop-up shops with designers. You know, my school, they had an event with Valentino, the creative director, not the creative director,
or very best
Valentino,
student
the
work from each
CEO,
academic
the
department
founder of
at the
Valentino
university.
actually came to the school and spoke with us. Now imagine that if you're a student, come there, you have a conversation with this man, ask him a good question, and now that's an opportunity for you to network on the next level, you know. And I feel like with fashion school, just think about it as putting yourself, and I feel like a lot of people think like being successful, being anything is all about luck, but what I really believe is just putting yourself in a position where you can go, you know. If the best place for opportunities, the best place for a fashion designer to be is in New York City, they did this right. So put yourself in New York so where you can get opportunities, so where you can get option, you know, versus in being in Tennessee or being in Texas where there's no opportunity really to be had for real. But yeah, so the events in fashion school, I feel like it's like, you know, it's like putting you there. At the end of the day, it's your life, it's your future. You have to be the one to take something. You have to be the one to initiate. You have to go after what you want. But I feel like they definitely give you the opportunity to go after what you want. You know, you have this person who is a designer here, you have this person who's a creative director, a senior designer, this, right? So, and they put you all in one room. No, I doubt people are just going to walk up to you and dance. You may have to go, you know, but if this is your dream and this is what you want to do, appreciate the fact that you even have an opportunity, you know, right? So another thing that I want to talk about is the community aspect within the students. I feel like being in this school, first of all, just being around like-minded people really boosts your morale. You know, I know for me, being in, even though Atlanta, it has a little bit of the fashion lifestyle, whatever, but it's not really, it hasn't really built itself up that to really be something that's recognized and respected within the fashion industry. So for me, and I feel like Atlanta is more so streetwear, and I'm more so ready to wear and couture fashion. That's where I'm at, right? So I feel like for me, being in Atlanta, it's like you're the only person in your world. There is no other people really that can relate to what you're into, what you're related to. No one really you can bounce ideas off of. Maybe if you're at SCAG University, obviously, but that's a school, right? But just the whole atmosphere doesn't feel like a fashion ready-to-wear arena, right? Whereas if you would go to a school, and I remember me like going into the classroom at AAU, it felt so nice. Like you could just feel the energy of all the other students and just being in a room where everyone knows about what you're talking about. And that's how it also was like when I was working at Kate Spade, just being the different conversations that I'm having. I'm talking about this conversations with my colleagues about my industry. It really just takes fashion from just being something in your head, something in your little mind, you know, to being something in your actual life, in your lifestyle. You're actually around, you're actually involved in the industry on an on-hands basis. And I feel like that is amazing for a designer. And just as someone trying to come into the industry, I know a lot, like I just said, how it's kind of gatekeeping, it kind of feel like pushed back from people who want to just enter the industry. But if you're in a school, everyone's new talent, everyone's fresh, everyone's on the same page, you know, so it just makes you feel secure, confident, and just having like people around you who can encourage you, you know, and understand what you're talking about, you know, and help you in any way possible. So yeah, and other students who you can collaborate with, who you can learn from, who you can network with. It's just amazing, I feel like. And another thing that I want to talk about that I kind of dived on was the job opportunity aspect. And yes, I did mention how some companies go directly to the new upcoming graduation senior class for their talent, but also for people who alumni and also upcoming and just other people who may not have been picked in that. I feel like a lot of schools get first dibs on jobs that have not even been posted yet. Again, because people know these students who go here, they're going to be up here, and they feel comfortable and safe, versus sending out to the world and not really knowing how to decipher between the good and the bad. I'm just immediately going to send it to this school because I know they're going to be able to perform. So most schools, in my school as well, they have a job opportunity tab on their website for current students and alumni, where you can just scroll and scroll and scroll. They have internships on there, they have apprenticeships, they have regular entry-level positions, they have senior level positions. And if you were someone who wasn't in school and just trying to look on Indeed or look in LinkedIn, what you are actually, you know what I'm saying, you are the last, you know what I'm saying, the last resort. That's when people, after they've sent it to the school, after they set it around to the people who work in their company, the industry, you know, the people who work in their company and the students, it's like, now let me go put it to the general. But this job has already been available, so now it's just the, you know, you're the afterthought, versus then for the person who would have got the first dibs and the first chance on that job. And some jobs probably have already been interview process before they even reach to Indeed. So it's like limitation. So with the school, another thing that a lot of schools do is resume critiquing, mentorship opportunities with alumni, with current, and just with friends of alumni and current, right? And portfolio critiquing, mock interview for people who are shy, who don't really know what type of questions that these companies will ask them in an interview. Because for me, I've done my fair share of interviews in retail spaces and in the manufacturing side of things, right? But say for example, if I'm going to a fashion design interview, they may not ask me, hey, they may not ask me just a general regular question, maybe more in depth, because this is about divine innovation and creation, right? So they may ask me, so how do you feel like, what's my question, how do you feel like this brand relates to your personal, how do you feel like this brand relates to your personal identity as a designer? Maybe more in depth. And I feel like the school offers you the ability to be prepared, have great answers, and secure the job. You know, may not be able to hand you the job directly, but give you the chance and give you the ability to. Another thing that I liked about, another thing that I feel like the school does, and I feel like this is, everyone probably already will expect this, is I feel like they really, the classroom aspect and the learning aspect really preps you for what is to be, versus if you didn't get the class, you know, not even just a classroom being similar to the workplace atmosphere, just in basic terminology. You know, there's so many different layers, but we speak the terminology that is used amongst actual designers, actual people in the industry. And then, so when you go there, so when you actually are working, you're not saying, oh, this color or this what's name. You can be even more specific than that. Oh, this hue or these combinate, you know what I'm saying? You can be more articulate with the fashion terminology, and again, up to standard, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, versus, and if you didn't, it's kind of like you come to this company and they have to teach you, whereas versus they're expecting you to come already taught, already prepared, and not just on being able to cut and sew. I remember seeing an article where they said not even majority of designers that work for a company aren't actually cutting and sewing. That is what seamstresses do, but that will be discussed in another video. So, but again, with the whole work space, and it kind of reminds me of like with med students, they work in the lab. It's like all of these things, they walk in the lab, they get scrubbed in. It's like all of these different techniques or little things that you do that's like psychologically, you know, subconsciously preparing you. So when you do get to your hospital, you're working, it's not going to be a shocker how to scrub. It's going to be, oh, I've done this for the last 4 years or 8 years I've been in school. It's nothing. I do this, you know what I'm saying? So the same thing as the designers at my school. You come into the classroom is literally a studio. Yes, there's a teacher there, there's his homework, but you're working in a regular studio as if you will be working when you actually get to the, you know, your final step, wherever that may be. So yeah. And another thing that I feel like ties in again with the whole community aspect is having someone judge your work. And I feel like this is kind of like especially with artists, any type of artist, writer, author, anyone. I feel like having someone to judge your work, who knows, who's knowledgeable, is much more beneficial than a little dagger that you will feel from, you know, being attacked. But take away that aspect of it and just being able to look from it objectively. Having someone to say, hey, this is not good, just cut off this, and you're good to go. It will save you so many missed jobs, so many no callbacks, so many, you know, glazed over resumes. You know, it will actually, again, push you forward than hurt you, you know. Basically, that cutoff would just, so when you get to that, it's immediate, yes, it's immediate go through, versus then you get, it's like going to the interview with a rough draft and having no one around you to save you from missing opportunity, missing that job, missing that whatever, when that could have been immediately fixed. But you have no community around you. You have no one around you to tell you, oh, this is good, this is anything, and you're just going off your own judgment, which is cute, which is fine. And I feel like a lot of people just kick it up to, oh, these people, they didn't know my design, they didn't know my this, they know my that, and that's perfectly fine. That may be true, but I feel like just within any industry, there are standards, there are, you know, small nuances that they expect everyone to meet nonetheless. And I feel like when you aren't in school, or when you don't have no community around you, have no one to really aid you, you know, hold you accountable to get into that next level. Same thing as having a personal trainer. It's not just on you to make sure you're eating good and working out and doing and losing the right amount of calories. You have a teacher, you have other students who can say, hey, maybe you should cut off this, maybe you should add this, maybe you should just shift this to the left corner, you know. So when you finally get to the, what's it called, if you're a boxer, when you finally get to the ring, now you look crazy, you know, or we leave, you don't know why you lost. And you don't know how to perfect that going forward, so you just keep doing the same thing over and over again and keep losing. Not saying everyone will lose, but yeah. And another thing that I want to mention is, I feel like the #1 thing, like even with college just in general, I feel like the thing that a lot of people say about college is, oh, but Donald Trump didn't go to school. Oh, but this multi-billionaire didn't go to school, so that means I don't have to go to school. Yeah, they didn't have to go to school, but their family's rich, but they're a non-person of color, but they're not a minority. I feel like if you don't fit in the categories to where you have advantage in society, don't try to use that to apply to you, because it's not to you. And majority of the time, you'll have to do twice, you'll have to do double. You know, you'll have to do twice of the work, if not double, to get to where other people are. So if you don't have no money, you don't have no connection, you're not you're a person of color, and you're also in a minority group within genders, don't try to compare yourself to other people to make you feel comfortable with not doing the route that will actually help you in the long run, because they're giving you advice from their standard. You're and them are not on the same playing field. They've already boom from other people in their family, from other advantages that they was already up here. You know, where you had to climb, they was already up here to begin with, so all they had to do was open the door. You had to climb up to get to the chance to open the door. So, but a lot of people live in denial. But even within that, a lot of designers, Michael Kors, other designers, they've all gone to college, or at least attempted college, and has helped them, or they've gone to college, or they've been an intern. You know, they've done groundwork. Yes, there have been designers who have just put out their collection and it just skyrocketed and it became famous. But is that the standard? Is that realistic advice to give a coming designer? No. That's not realistic. That's not realistic, and it's not beneficial. So if you want a long, legitimate, credible career and working in the corporate side, or not even corporate, even if you want to start your own business, I feel like going to the school, getting your degree will only help you. It will not hurt you. So going to fashion school, worth it? Yes, it's worth it. Don't sell yourself short. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like this video, give it a thumbs up, comment down below if you agree with me, if you don't, what school you go to, everything, and what videos you want to see from me in the future. And goodbye. I'll see you guys in the next video.